So here it is, the long promised rant. 3 pages, back to back. So we'll start at the very beginning and we'll get there, hopefully. Okay, so Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Matt Hardy won with help from Bray Wyatt. Battle Royals are crap, aren't they? Like, let's be honest, everybody has to walk down side by side to the ring because you don't have time to do all the entrances. And then they start kicking the shit out of each other. That's just the nature of Battle Royals. And it's a lot of kicking and stomping and, fake throwouts and stuff like that. It's never particularly entertaining until the last couple of minutes and you kind of wonder who's going to win. So it was what it was. It wasn't great, but I'm kind of intrigued by where they're going with Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy. It's interesting. I don't have a massive problem with this match. Cruiserweights. Exciting. Thrills and spills. Fast paced. Well developed characters. Cedric Alexander wins. Mustafa Ali. Some really impressive moves in this match. Really ends on. I don't even know what the finish was. Like after some really exciting stuff, the finish was the fart in church. What happened? I don't know. It was a decent match. The crowd didn't give a shit, and neither did I. Women's Battle Royal. We'll start with the name. It's called the Women's Battle Royal because Fabulous Moolah was more of a pimp than the Godfather. Where do you go from there? They should have found somebody else to name it after. That it's called the Women's Battle Royal and it's this completely nondescript trophy, except that it's this ugly looking plastic thing. Is not good enough, especially when they've had so many iconic female champions in the history of that company. I mean, seriously, you couldn't have thought of anybody else. There's a litany of people that they could have had it named after and they didn't. So right from the off, it didn't feel nearly as important as it should have. It was the first women's one, if you don't count the Miss Wrestlemania 1 in 25. So anyway, it didn't feel like a big deal when it really ought to have, and you were left kind of underawed. The match was fine. I couldn't understand how some women got entrances and other women didn't. It baffles me, especially when I don't believe that the winner got an entrance, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I did like the interaction between Bayley and Sasha Banks. I loved that Bayley finally grew a pair, so to speak, and threw out her nemesis slash best friend, and then Naomi winning. Fine, whatever, I guess. The Intercontinental title match, Seth Rollins' entrance was absolutely awesome. The contact lenses looked seriously cool. The setup for the stage and everything looked really good, especially any time they put eyes inside the mask. They did that a couple of times over the night. I liked that Miz dismissed the Miz Taraj and said that he wanted to go alone. I know that wasn't very heelish, but I loved the idea that he was so confident in himself and so arrogant to think that he could actually beat these two guys who were clearly superior wrestlers. I don't like what they did with Finn's entrance. It goes back to what Stephanie McMahon said about philanthropy being, a great marketing tool. They're not doing it because they care about the LGBT community. They don't. They want to look good. And okay, if there's a positive outcome for the LGBT community where a fan who might be part of that community sees this and goes, that's great, I feel included. Great. I don't know what that feels like. But to me, it just looks like pandering. That's all it looks like. It doesn't look good to me. I don't think that it's genuine, and if it's not genuine, then cynical, really, isn't it? Other than that, the match was pretty decent. Probably the right result. Seth Rollins feels like a big deal, and so does the Intercontinental title, which is what you want. We're on to the women's SmackDown women's title match. And just a point that I meant to mention earlier on about the Seth Rollins match. By this stage, the camera had gone to John Cena in the crowd. I don't know how many times, even during that match. And I can't understand that. Don't take away from the guys while they're in the ring. Don't take away from the girls while they're in the ring. They did the same to Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. They did it when they went to they advertised something during their match. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's not right. So anyway, we're on to the match of the night. Spoiler alert, this was the match of the night. This was absolutely brilliant. I was excited about this match beforehand because I know that both women can wrestle. I didn't think it would be the match of the night. It blew me away. I enjoyed every single minute of it. It was absolutely brilliant. The finish, I didn't think that they were going to break the streak, but they did, and I was okay with it. Especially how they did it. It made Charlotte look really strong, and Asuka's still strong in defeat. It was a brilliant match, really, really good. The two women went back and forth. Charlotte looks great going forward. Asuka can stay on Raw because she didn't win the SmackDown title. Happy days. The only downside is we had a great moment at the end with the handshake and everything else. Charlotte's going up the ramp, and the next thing, John Cena gets word that maybe the Undertaker might be here, and he runs up the stage and again steals the spotlight. Don't. The women have just had a great match. Don't do that. Glorious. No, this match was not glorious. I didn't care who won this at the start. I kind of wanted Bobby Roode to win it because I like his theme song. I like him. I like that he got to keep his name, and I think he's a good performer. Randy Orton, everybody knows how I feel about Randy Orton. I do not want to see Randy Orton anymore. I'm so fed up with him. Jinder Mahal. What else can be said about Jinder Mahal? He's not interesting. Nobody's feeling him. Why we're still going through this, I don't know. Rusev was the most over performer nearly at the whole event. The Rusev Day chants were unbelievable, and he's the one who takes the pin. So I mean, make sense of that if you can. Mind blowing. I have quick notes on this. Let me have a quick look. Yeah, Aiden English got a haircut he was in the Battle Royal, and he had the nest and egg, and then he came out later on and he was clean shaven. When did he have time to get a haircut, and why did he do it? It's really strange. I don't understand that. So that's part of it, and then Jinder wins. Match sucked. That's all I have. That's it. I spoiled this a little bit by telling you earlier on who the match of the night was, in my opinion. Asuka and Charlotte blew the house down. Everything else was pale in comparison. So there are people out there who are going to tell you that this match was the best match of the night. You can tell them, Kirk, you're wrong. You're wrong so many times, but you're definitely wrong with this. Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Triple H and Stephanie always have to have the biggest entrances, and they did again. It's probably the only real memorable entrance of the night. They ride in on motorcycles that were too big for them, and whatever. The visual of the women on the motorbikes was pretty cool. I don't know, you could have done something else with Steph and Triple H. As soon as you saw them on the bikes, you knew that you weren't going to get, the American Badass Undertaker, because you're not going to have that many motorbikes on one show, especially when Triple H comes down on a massive big motorbike, and then the Undertaker comes down on a standard Harley Davidson. It just would have looked really shit. Rousey did really well. Looked absolutely smoking hot. I don't think that Kurt or Triple H were as good as I expected either of them to be. I know they're in their 50s and Triple H looks ripped. Probably all clean, of course. But I didn't think their timing was great. Watch it again. If you don't agree with me, fair enough, but watch it again. I don't think the timing was great. At one point, Triple H laid outside the ring for an eternity because he'd been thrown over the top rope. Like, he'd been shot. He just lay there forever. Rousey showed great promise, really, really good promise for the future. I think she's going to get better. I thought she'd probably pick this up fairly quickly, and it turns out she has. It's the same. Kurt Angle was an Olympian. She's an Olympian. Top athletes can do this kind of thing, and she looks every bit a prospect for the future. This match went on too long. It was the longest match of the night. Why? I mean, you could have a bit of back and forth between Triple H and Kurt Angle, and eventually we get Rousey come in and get her hands on Steph. And I mean, if Misha Tate can't block the armbar from Ronda Rousey, then Stephanie McMahon should not be blocking it multiple times. I'm sorry, the woman is, again, she's in her 40s, she's a mother. That's not to say that, you know, if she was a UFC star or an MMA star in her own right, that she wouldn't still be able to do that at that age. But she's not. She's not even a wrestler. So, you know, if Naomi couldn't do it, or if Becky Lynch couldn't do it, then she shouldn't be able to do it. And so the believability of the match went out the window when that kept happening. It just went on too long. Just like this segment talking about it is going on too long. So I'm going to move on. SmackDown Tag Team title match. Bludgeon Brothers. The gimmick doesn't do anything for me. It's a fucking stupid name. They've gotten the first curse word out of me of the night, I think. Holy God. They've just buried two of the best tag teams they've had, not just in the last, people keep saying in the last decade, ever. How good are the Usos? They are brilliant. The New Day do my nut in. I don't like the gimmick. Cannot dispute how good the guys are in the ring. They have got great chemistry together. Big E and Xavier and Kofi. What one doesn't have in the ring, the other does. So you've got a power guy, you've got these athletes, you've got, you know, three guys who are good on the microphone. There's no question about it. And I don't know, you just buried them. I would have had a straight Usos versus New Day match, and I would have let them go for a lot longer than they did, and you'd have had a great match. What we had was 5 minutes, and they got squashed. Page 2, everybody, of 3. Undertaker versus John Cena. So Cena comes out. Bear in mind, earlier on in the match, or in the night, we've seen him sitting down having a beer. He hasn't presumably done his stretches or whatever else, but he has gotten into his nice green shirt, so that's positive, I suppose. This was kind of stupid. I didn't like the build up to this. We should have had interaction between Cena and the Undertaker at some point in the build up to this match. We didn't. So I knew this was going to happen. It was just a question of when and how, and I didn't really like how they did it. I did love Elias coming out. You know, were you expecting somebody else? Elias is brilliant. He's funny. The crowd actually like him. And that showed even the next night on Raw when they were chanting "We are scumbags" and stuff like that. No, he's great. But this was 2.5 minutes or something like that. It was a squash match. Cena comes out. Then Undertaker comes out. He probably took longer to get to the ring than he did in the ring. People are saying that he looked great or whatever. Yeah, he looked in good shape. He had a match that lasted 2 minutes. Like, he didn't look good last year. We all know he didn't look good last year. Taker's my favourite of all time. But you can't say this is a second coming of the Undertaker because he had a 2 minute squash match. Like, he was not going to get blown up in 2 minutes. He has a match against Rusev now at this greatest Royal Rumble thing in Saudi Arabia. Is he back? I don't know. He won't be full time one way or another. Cena and Taker. Oh, we've wanted this match for a long time, and it didn't happen. And then we've got it, and it wasn't great. So look, I'm glad Taker got his win in the stadium that he lost the streak. But all the same, this wasn't good. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Daniel Bryan and Shane against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. For me, I would have had a backstage segment. I don't think we had any backstage segments really in the whole pay per view. And I always liked kind of going back behind the curtain and seeing what was going on behind the scenes. I would have had Daniel Bryan preparing at some point earlier on in the night and was seeing him doing his stretches and warming up to build up the anticipation of him coming out and actually making his return. I would have definitely had at some point Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens attack him backstage and leave this grain of doubt in the back of your minds as to whether or not he was actually going to come out later on in the night. That would give you a bigger pop, unquestionably, when he actually did make it out. So maybe you start the match and it's 2-on-1 and they're going, oh, where's Daniel Bryan? I thought he was coming back. Kevin Owens is great for that kind of trash talk. And the next thing, his music hits, the Flight of Valkyries, and out he comes. The pop would have been unbelievable. As it was pretty good. It was probably better than pretty good. It was good. It was very good. But it would have been better. I know it would have been better, and you know it would have been better. I love Kevin Owens' Wrestlemania t-shirts. KO Mania 3. I mean, he had KO Mania, then he had KO Mania 2 and 3, so he's going to carry this on. Hopefully he gets to do a few more of these, because I'm popping every single time I see those. I really am. I think it's great. Let me see what else I have notes-wise on this match. Thought it was a good match. I didn't like how strong Shane looked against two other wrestlers, especially because I think the way you need to portray Kevin Owens is an absolute killer. And if he's an absolute killer, he shouldn't be struggling against Shane McMahon, no matter what kind of shape Shane McMahon is in. And you could show Shane McMahon kicking out, but I really don't want to see any offense really from him. His offense isn't good, and it doesn't look good on your other guys when the 50-something-year-old son of the boss is able to put it up against your guys, one of which was Universal Champion not that long ago, just over a year ago. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't like that. It's great to have Daniel Bryan back. It wasn't a great match. It was an alright match, but that's all. Raw Women's title match. We've got Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss. Largely underwhelming match, really. I think I would have had Mickie James jump Nia before the match so that you had more of a sense that Nia was creating a big comeback when she overcame the heel duo. To me, it didn't really make sense to do it the way they did, but they did. So fine. Match was okay. Underwhelming is what I've got it written down as, and that's pretty much what it was. It was a nice feel-good moment to see Nia actually get her hands on the title. I like Nia. I don't care what anybody says, and I think she's beautiful as well. So, yeah. Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles for the WWE title. I think everybody had really high hopes for this match. I don't watch Japanese wrestling for the most part, but by all accounts, these guys have had good matches in the past, and they're both able to have great matches. To me, AJ Styles is the best in the world at the moment. Nakamura, I haven't seen anything from in the WWE to suggest that I should be getting excited about him. Neither on the microphone nor in the ring. I love his theme song, and his theme song, again, the entrance with the guitars and everything else was super. But I don't think this match was that great. I know that I was starting to hit the wall at this point. I was getting very tired. I'd been on an early shift that morning. I got home, I got a little bit of a nap in, but I was really starting to fall asleep, and I was dozing off during this match, and I wouldn't have thought that was going to happen, and it was. I don't think it was as great as we were expecting. Maybe it suffered from um, its its point in the card. Maybe it suffered from expectation. I don't know. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and I think most people agree on that one. I did like that they did something different because I thought we were going to get essentially the Asuka Charlotte finish again. We didn't. What we got instead was Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho from I think it was 21 or 22 or something like that, which was great. Maybe it was 19. I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with the heel. I'm hoping that it's not going to be this foreign heel thing again, because that's so done to death at this point. But I'm intrigued because I haven't been intrigued with Shinsuke up to this point. Now we come to the Raw Tag Team titles, and this really should have been the low point of the night. I was excited to see who Braun Strowman's tag team partner was going to be. I think that the Bar are another tag team that are amongst the best that we've seen in a very, very long time. The two guys are great performers. They have great chemistry together. They've got a great look. And they've been having great matches with everybody. And then Braun Strowman wandered around for what felt like an eternity. Close to the end of the night, I was sitting there and I was going to just pick somebody, pick anybody. I had hoped that it was going to be somebody exciting. I had heard rumours of Rey Mysterio. I think the big little duo would be interesting. I know that Rey's had injury problems. Even if it had been the Big Show, I would have been more excited about this. He picked somebody in the crowd. I have no idea who this kid Nicholas is. I don't know whether or not it's a Make-A-Wish thing, or if he's one of the sons of one of the wrestlers, or I've no idea. I don't care. If it's a Make-A-Wish, I'm happy the kid got his moment, but oh my god, that was bad. It was so bad. I honestly thought it was going to be the worst bit of the night. Let me just see what I have got here. It makes Sheamus and Cesaro look weak. We all know it does. And had he not managed to get a partner and been told, look, you can fight these two guys on your own. If you can beat a great tag team on your own and carry the belts on your own, we'll see how long that goes. I'd have been intrigued by that even. This absolutely sucked. I said that my notes were on 3 pages. This match alone got back to back, and I was running out of space at the end. This is the Universal title match. I hate the name of the Universal title, and I think the title is ugly. But anyway, Brock Lesnar murdered Roman Reigns in front of his wife and his daughter in a bad match that the crowd rejected. Beach balls flying around, which obviously is not particularly respectful for the performers in the ring, but the fans feel like they've not been respected with how they feel about either a performer really, but fans don't like Roman. I think Roman's a great wrestler. I think that Roman, given no scripts and let to go do his own thing on the microphone, would also be fine. I think he's probably more suited to being a heel, but fine. I think that the Paul Heyman heel turn would have been interesting. They didn't do that. Instead, they had him kick out of 5 F5s. You've protected the F5 all summer long. You've protected it since last year's Mania, pretty much. Nobody's been kicking out of it. It did. One was doing it against Braun Strowman. It was doing it against Mojo. It was doing it against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. 3 of them were able to end the streak after 21 of the people weren't able to do it. 5 of them. He kicked out of 5. That's ridiculous. Like, even if you want to make him look strong or whatever else, if you're going to make him kick out of 5, he has to win. He has to win. Why? Right. So anyway, then Brock decides to take off his gloves, which is a great visual. It really is. It's like the sit up from the Undertaker or whatever else. It gets a pop because people go, "Oh yeah, here we go. This means business." And he's done it before without splitting people's heads open, you know. But this I have so many problems with this. Like, let me just have a look at my notes again. He's splitting full-time guys with his elbows, and they're going out on Raw the next night, and he's not there. Roman goes home with a concussion, and he goes home with the title. I have a big problem with that. It's not a capsule. All this talk about, oh well, maybe it was a blood capsule. It's not a capsule. If you watched Randy Orton getting split open a few years ago, you know it wasn't a capsule. If you've ever seen the mass transit incident, if you haven't, look it up. Bear in mind, it's tough watching, but you can see that blood can just start gushing out of somebody's head like that. It's a tough watch, so bear that in mind. But it can happen. If I worked for WWE as a full-time superstar and I watched that, I would have walked up to Vince at the end of the match and I would have handed in my resignation. I would have said, I'm done. Because I have a list here of the last couple of WrestleManias where a full-time performer has taken a main event spot. So 34, Brock Lesnar took the main event spot. 33, The Undertaker took the main event spot. 32, Triple H took the main event. 31, Brock Lesnar again. 30, Batista. 29, The Rock. 28, The Rock. 27, as a guest host of Raw, as a guest host of WrestleMania, The Rock. 26, The Undertaker. So you have to go back basically to 25 before you have full-time competitors at the WrestleMania main event. Yes, at 27 you've got The Miz and John Cena, but they're still overshadowed by The Rock. So, I mean, where is the incentive? You bust your ass all year long. You are at all of the house shows. You go to every single Raw or every single SmackDown. You are at all of the pay-per-views. You make all of the appearances for the signings of autographs and the Make-A-Wish foundations and everything else. And at the end of it, you get to see the guy who's going to bat for you. Whether you like him or not is not really important here. Roman Reigns is going to be in Dublin at the Dublin show, a house show. Brock Lesnar is not going to be there because Brock Lesnar does not care about the fans in Dublin. He doesn't care about any of the fans. He's just there for the paycheck. So, as a full-time performer, Roman Reigns is your representative on that night, on that card, in that ring against a part-timer who got to split him open in front of his wife and his kids and pin him cleanly in the middle of the ring after basically destroying him. Like, Roman did not really look strong. Roman looked resilient. He did not look strong. He didn't get much offense in. And as a result, yeah, I would have handed in my notice. I don't think I could possibly countenance going back in and doing all that shit again. I would go and try to find some work in Ring of Honor or in TNA or go over to Japan or something else, because I don't know when the WWE are going to break this formula of having part-time performers in there outshining the full-time guys. It's not right. It really isn't right. Anybody who goes to these OTT events knows just how hard these guys work, how much time they spend away from their families, how much time they spend in rehab with broken bones or torn ligaments or whatever. And you've got a guy taking liberties with them in the ring like Brock Lesnar does. He did it against Braun Strowman only a couple of months ago. He got stiffed a little bit by Braun Strowman. I don't think Strowman meant to with a knee, and his response was to punch him straight in the head. repeatedly. I mean, this isn't the guy that we want to be our champion. I don't understand how anybody could have been cheering for him. Um, like, it feels like a big deal when he turns up, but when he turns up, I mean, like, at the height of their power, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, they came to the shows. They actually did turn up. John Cena. John Cena doesn't miss events. Even now, John Cena is still coming to events when he doesn't need to be. He's a big movie superstar, and he still does them. Brock Lesnar doesn't. Brock Lesnar doesn't give a shit about any of us, and I don't understand why people wanted to see him beat even somebody who you don't like. Look, at the end of the day, if Roman Reigns had won the title, in a couple of months' time, Roman Reigns would have dropped the title to somebody else, and he would have gotten another champion. What we got instead is a guy. I have no idea when this comes to an end. This started with him breaking the streak. He brutalised John Cena in the SummerSlam match, and they've been building ever since. Who beats him now? When does this come to an end? I really don't know. I'm so fed up of Brock Lesnar being the champion. I'm just going to have a little look and see if I've got anything else that I had to say about this. No. No. I have nothing else to say except fuck you, Brock Lesnar. That was my rant. I don't know how long this is going to end up being in the end, but there you go, guys. Just to say as well, I hope that everybody enjoyed WrestleMania more than I did, because I didn't enjoy that WrestleMania at all. And thank you so much for your continued support with the forum. I hope you guys enjoy the banter that you have between each other, the conversation. I hope that it gives you somewhere to go. The forum was set up initially when I had several friends, wrestling fans, who didn't feel comfortable talking to me on Facebook about wrestling. And so we set up a private page that we could go and talk about wrestling together without worrying about how other people felt. I know that wrestling has a stigma. I know that a lot of people give wrestling fans a hard time, so I understand that that might be the case for some of you guys. The forum just kept growing and growing and growing, and there's loads of people there that I didn't know when it was set up first now, that I call friends, great people that meet up on a regular basis, and I'm so glad that it's turned out the way it has. A special thank you, as always, to all of the forum members, but particularly to admin Amy, who I can never tell you how much work that woman does on the forum, and I just hope that you guys can understand. Sometimes we don't see things on time. Sometimes things get a little bit out of hand before we can get a handle on them again. But she works really, really hard, and she deserves so much credit and respect. And I just hope that people give her the credit that she deserves. That's pretty much it, guys. I might do some more of these in the future, depending on how the response is to this. Or maybe you'll never hear from me again. I don't know. Anyway, guys, thanks very much. That's my WrestleMania 34 rant. The show sucked, and wrestling is dying.